Hi, I'm Rachel Lancaster, and this is the Magnificent Midlife Podcast. This is where we celebrate women in midlife and beyond. We challenge the status quo and bash those negative stereotypes about being an older woman. We're not over the hill at 40, 50, 60. We're just getting started, and the world needs us now more than ever. I'll be talking all things midlife and sharing some fabulous stories of amazing women doing very cool stuff. Now's our time. On today's podcast, I'm talking to the wonderful active lifestyle enthusiast Jo Moseley, who is Healthy Happy 50 and One Happy Rower on social media. She's passionate about empowering women to become and stay active and reap the positive benefits of that, and she is a true breath of fresh air. One of the things that Jo, I know, is passionate about is making sure that we maintain our levels of fitness as we get older. So tell us a little bit about why you're passionate about that and what else you're passionate about, Jo.
Well, it really stems from actually not being active. And literally about 5 years ago to this month, I found myself in a supermarket in the biscuit aisle sobbing. So it stems from that. And I've sobbed in many supermarkets. Over my time, I sort of wear my heart on my sleeve. So
always in the biscuit aisle.
Just different cafes. I mean, all sorts of places. But basically, both my parents were having chemotherapy. I had two young sons, in teenagers, who just had lots of demands. I was working. I'm a single mum. And looking back, I realized I was starting the menopause, but I knew nothing about it then. Nothing. It was just nothing. And so I found myself, yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so great. I think it's amazing. You know, when people say to me now they know nothing, I'm like, do you realize the resources that are out there now? You know, I'm pointing them all over. So I found myself crying, explained it to a friend, and she said, how much exercise do you do? And I said, well, not really much. I used to love it, but really never was a priority. So she lent me her indoor rowing machine, which I think was sort of either going to the tip or charity, to be honest. And within a couple of weeks, I was sleeping, because that's always my main thing. I don't sleep and I get anxious. I can get anxious about anything. So, and I started sleeping, and that just made such a difference. So I just saw the difference it made in my life. And so I carried on. And then when my mum died, I sort of did a big fundraising rowing challenge for Macmillan Cancer. And when that was finished, sort of 8 months later, I realized that had helped me through my grief. It had helped me through all that terrible time, and it had been such a support. And so really from both those experiences, I thought, this is important to me. And then I just started rediscovering all the things I loved as a child, which had been sort of beaten out of me by life and school sports, which I absolutely hated. And so, you know, just awful. I still, and then it just became part of who I am. So it's not about being very good at anything or winning at anything or medals. It's just making it something I do each day for me. Obviously for my physical health, osteoporosis my mum had, all that stuff, but as much for my head and my heart, really. And I'm just passionate about sharing it with other people, because it can help me not cry so often. And I actually haven't cried in a supermarket since.
Good.
So it's great. So if it can help me not do that, and it can help me get through grief, and it can help me juggle all the things that I'm going through, then it might be able to help other people. And that's really what I'm interested in doing, is sharing that with other people, not as a, hey, look at me, but hey, this might just help you. And I don't think it's a cure-all, but it might just be something that helps people. So that's what I'm passionate about sharing, really.
And I would tell everybody, if you want to see Jo's adventures, you should definitely follow her on Instagram, because she's all over the place doing all sorts of fun things, and it's really inspiring and fun to see what you're doing. Yeah. But I thought that comment you made about the sleep, that's absolutely fascinating, because so many of the women in my community complain about sleep. I mean, we have a couple of members that were talking about it just this week that, you know, suffer really badly with insomnia. And I'm wondering whether perhaps there isn't enough physical exertion in their life.
Yeah. And I think for me, activity calms my mind. So if I'm out running, which is a new thing for me, I can literally feel these sort of calming mechanism on my head. I should have done that. I said this. I should have said that. Oh, did I say this? Did I offend somebody? I've forgotten this. All this stuff just calms my mind. The running just calms all this stuff. So it's not just the physical aspect, and it's not just the outside aspect. It's the calming, and also I think there's a real sense of gratitude when I'm outside. You know, I do live in a beautiful place, so I know that I'm very lucky, but just simply the gratitude that I'm at 53 and I can do this, and that just calms me, you know. So it's all the aspects, but I think the physical exertion does really help. But I'm really strict about my sleep pattern as well. I was speaking actually at a trail running festival at the weekend, and there was some great music, and I said to a friend, I went to bed at 11:30 on Saturday, and he went, oh my God, Jo, that's amazing. 10:15, I'm in bed, you know, I got to go into the kind of slipstream as I call it. So I'm pretty particular about both, but yeah, sleep is massive. If I don't sleep, my day doesn't go well. And so, for example, I had a really busy weekend. I was out Monday night and Tuesday night. So tonight, I'm just going to treat myself like a child and say, bed at 9:30, you know, and then I'll be fine for the rest of the week. So, yeah, sleep's massive to me. Yeah. Massive.
You get up quite early, though, don't you? So you.
Yes, yeah, I do. I'm an early bird, but I like that. That suits me. Early to bed, early to rise. It suits me. So, yeah.
So I'm going to start off with the rowing, because you are one happy rower on Twitter. You have two Twitter profiles, don't you?
Two people, yeah. I need to do something about that. So I started this.
I think it's fun. You're multifaceted.
I started the row. I started as one happy rower when I first started in Twitter, simply because I was rowing, and then I continued that for the big challenge. And then I wanted to broaden that when I started writing about other people and other sports to Healthy Happy 50. So it was slightly broader. So I'm somehow going to work it all out. But I'm Healthy Happy 50 on my Instagram. So I started the rowing challenge in memory of my mum. And I was in bereavement counselling, and he said to me, how do you feel? And I said, I feel like I'm in a boat on the middle of a lake, and my old life is around the edge of the lake, and I'm standing in this middle of this boat, and I'm waving at my old life, and all that's happening is these waves of grief just keep hitting the boat, and I can't steady myself. Mum was massive in our lives, and because I'm a single mum, she played such a huge part, and she died of lymphoma, which is a blood cancer. So she didn't have an operation. She didn't have her breast off or her bowel out like my dad has. My dad's had breast, bowel and skin cancer, and they entail operations, whereas my mum's, it was different. So losing her was huge. And he said to me, what do you need to do to get back to your own life? And I said, I need to row. I don't think he expected that I would then decide to row 1,000,000 meters. I think it was all sort of metaphorical at the time. So I decided within about 2 weeks to launch this big challenge to row 1,000,000 meters and then a marathon. And I rode the marathon on the first anniversary of Mum's death and 5 days before my 50th birthday, which when I look back now, I think, how did I do that? And why did I do that? But we raised a lot of money, and it really helped me process that grief, really.
You raised £10,000, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, £10,000, which is with gift ages. Yeah, for a challenge that was a little bit boring from the outside, because I wasn't going anywhere particularly exciting. I didn't have great photos to show people. It was just literally me on a rowing machine every other night. So somebody said I sponsored you because it was so unutterably boring, and I knew that I could do it, but I just wouldn't do it. But I sponsored you for your sort of relentless determination to do something that nobody else would ever want to do. Yeah, just the boringness of it. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you, that's very kind. So yeah, we raised a lot of money and it was great, and then that was a springboard for all the other things that I wanted to do. So yeah,
I mean, you do sound a bit like the poster child. So we should all go out and get an indoor rowing machine if we've got the space. It sounds like that's
yeah.
And
yeah.
I think, is there a meditational aspect to it? I'm guessing there must be. If you're rowing 1 million miles, there's got to be
backwards and forwards. Yeah. And there were nights that I'm sure that I was sort of tearful, and I was doing it in a gym actually, because the rowing machine my friend had given me wasn't that great. It really was destined not to last very long. But I'm sure there were nights when I would just be sort of slightly crying, and people would know and would give me a smile, give me some space. And it got to the point that when I walked into the gym, if somebody was on the rowing machine I normally was on, they would get off like, oh, that's yours, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it was a very special time, actually, very special time. Very special memories.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Very, very inspiring. So when you set off on this route of all your sort of new sporting activities, was there anything that you had to change about yourself to be able to do everything that you're doing and go off down this path?
I think I just had to believe in myself. I was always like this as a child. I am more like I was when I was 10 at 53 than I was when I was 33 or 43. I'm doing the things that my 10-year-old would recognize, me as a 10-year-old would recognize. He would be like, well, yeah, that's what you like, throwing yourself in the sea, running around, being a bit muddy. I did some yoga at the weekend, and that was just like my gymnastics, so I'm more like myself now. And so I suppose what I had to do was say, just try stuff, be curious, don't worry. The big thing was don't worry about what people think. So I've recently been learning to surf, and I'm a really bad surfer. I fall off, I hit myself, I'm not great, but I don't mind that. I'd rather be bad at it and do it than worry what people think of me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is just do it, don't worry. And I think part of that comes with being a single mum. You just have to worry what people think of you and all the stuff about that. And you just go and do the stuff that makes your heart sing, and hopefully makes me a better mum, makes me a calmer mum, makes me a more interesting mum, and also makes the boys understand that when they're off, my youngest will be at going off to university next year, that I'll be okay. I'll be fine. They don't need to sort of worry that I'll be sitting at home crying.
Well, you might.
I will, but I want them to know that I want them to know I'll be okay. And I think that's all part of it too. I want to build stuff into my life that they know that they're not responsible for me.
I get that
they're not
completely. And my journey doing this, I've often said, certainly I started, with the Mutton Club that you know about, and then the Members Club. This is my empty nest strategy. It is absolutely, it's my way, doing it for me. But as you say, also, I think inside here, there was that idea that, yes, I want my son to know that I'm going to be all right. He hasn't got to worry.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got, and like a friend I was with at dinner last night, she said, you've really built your life differently, haven't you? And I said, yeah, but just bit by bit. Not my life from the outside doesn't look particularly different to 5 years ago, except I do more out, but the inside is very different. I feel like I'm living it from the inside. I don't really worry what people think that much. I don't try and keep up with anybody else. I just kind of do my own thing, and as long as I'm doing right by my sons, my dad, my sister, my job, then I'm good with that, And it's a simpler life, but it's simple but rich on a totally non-material basis. But it's very rich in terms of what fills my heart, what fills my day, what I think about, what I learn about. So yeah, believing in myself, not worrying what other people think, and just going for it and being bad at it, but still loving it.
I
think that's probably me in sport.
I thought it was fascinating what you said about the fact that you are more like your 10-year-old self now than you were in your 30s and 40s. But if we think about it, hormonally,
yes,
not actually that surprising, is it?
No,
because,
not at all.
It's pre-puberty and post-menopause.
Yeah.
And I always talk about menopause being puberty in reverse.
Yeah.
And actually, there's no reason why we can't be much less, unencumbered perhaps by our reproductive hormones.
Exactly.
Post-menopause, that's one of the kind of positive things, isn't it?
Yeah. So, the 30 and 40-year-old me was very worried what people thought, worried about not being good enough. I mean, I still worry about not being good enough, but I'm less worried about it. And I'm starting to really believe in myself a lot more and believe that I have something that I can contribute. And the exercise and the sport is sort of leading me to a kind of purpose as well, because with my running, I pick up litter, which is the most unglamorous thing, and yet it gives me such joy.
And this is called, this has a name, doesn't it? Tell me, what's the name?
Plogging.
Plogging.
Yeah, plogging. So it's picking up litter and running, and that's what I was talking about at this festival. And it's bizarre that something so simple has brought this whole new world to me. But then that was what I was interested in my teens and my 20s, and then life kind of adulting took over. So again, my 20-something self would say, well, yeah, of course, this is what you're interested in. So I'm just kind of following different paths and seeing where they go with no major expectation of the outcome. If it feels right, I'm kind of following it. And if things come up, that's great. And just take every opportunity, say yes. And it's exciting. Yeah. So something that simple is bringing it's that richness, simple but very rich.
So you go out in a group, presumably, do you, to go?
Well, I do it on my own. What happened was I set myself a goal that every day I would do a 2-minute litter pick. And from that and posting it on my stories and things, I sort of got a bit of a name for myself, which is lovely. And so after Park Run, we've done one group plogging, and we're going to do another one this weekend. So, and I'm thinking as my confidence grows that I might just sort of put something up and say, look, I'm going to be in this area. Would you like to come and run and pick up litter with me? It happens all over the country. And I just think, well, maybe I should just try and set something up which is a bit more regular. So yeah, it's just that confidence in hoping, even if just 2 or 3 people turn up. So yeah, plastic pollution is such a big thing at the moment. I think people are more open to it. So yeah, so it's just taking it where it goes, and it's fun, really fun.
That's brilliant. I love that. And there's some great photographs of Jo plogging on Instagram.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. It's all just about being. It's just about being who you are, really, isn't it? And finally saying, this is what I'm interested in, and
it's not everybody else, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I probably get more likes if I showed a new dress or something, but that's not going to be me. It's just feeling comfortable with yourself, and I think that is one of the key benefits of your 50s, is you just finally say, a bit like Brené Brown said, you just got to quit all that pretending and what you think you should be, and just say, look, this is me, this is what I like, and hope that as long as it's good enough for you, then whatever, the right people will find you, and if they don't, at least you're happy in your own little world.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree with
I'm always accused of that. I'm always being accused of living in this sort of, bunnies and rabbits and roses kind of world, but that's fine. I'm not hurting anybody. It's just my own little world.
Exactly.
So.
And there's also just wanted to mention the stand-up paddleboarding, isn't there? Because I remember we profiled early on the Mutt Club website stand-up paddleboarding, which
I love that.
Amazing. I really would love to give that a go.
Oh, it's great. There's so many places in London that you can do it.
Really?
It's massive in London. I'll text you some details.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's just a really calming thing to do. Because I love to go to the sea, but I don't live next to the sea. I have to kind of see what's happening in the sea and tailor what I do accordingly. So if the sea's flat, I'll use my paddleboard. If it's rough, I'll go on my bodyboard so I can get on the waves. So I'm learning to surf. And sometimes I'll just literally put my fins on and tread water and just kind of look around and look at the sky, and there's a seal that sometimes comes, and it just brings me such joy.
And you're wearing a wetsuit, aren't you? Because this is
it's
the North Sea we're talking about.
Yeah, this is the North Sea. So yeah, this is the North Sea, which is particularly cold. And my dad's very into the RNLI, and so he said, I don't want the lads coming out and rescue and I think there's some women on the crew. I don't want them coming and rescuing you, so you got to wear the stuff. And yeah, I trained as a lifeguard recently, so I know I need to be safe and not risk hypothermia, because I like to spend a good 45 minutes treading water. It's just so calming. I would love to snorkel, but it's so cold that you just get brain freeze. So I tread water instead. And it's very meditative, and it's just full of no phone, don't have a waterproof phone. So it's just me just kind of looking around, having a good time, picking up litter as I get back on the beach. And it's beautiful. It's like yoga, but with water. Yeah. So
it sounds fantastic. So how did your friends and family react when you started doing all of these things?
I think people that had known me as a child were like, well, yeah, that's what you were like. And people that had only known me sort of more recently were a bit like, oh, interesting. But I think want me to be happy. When I said to my dad a year or so ago, I said, Dad, I really want to learn to surf, but I know it's really, really hard. And he said, but why not give it a go? You're good at stuff like that. You're used to crashing about in water. That doesn't bother me, falling off. That I feel really comfortable in that sort of situation. And he said, just try it. Don't worry, just try it. The only thing he didn't want me to do was free diving, where you hold your breath. So he was a diver, and I used to do a lot of diving with him in my 20s. So he's always like, no, you should wear a tank. It's much more safe. But apart from that, Dad's just like, yeah, just enjoy it. Just, my dad's always been a you only live once kind of guy, just go out and enjoy it, do what you want. Yeah, I think people are just happy for me. And my boys are like, oh, she's off our case now. She's happy, we can,
So if you had one piece of advice to a woman in midlife and beyond who's struggling with fitness and activity, what would it be?
I would say start where you are, start small, just do something, anything, just go for a walk. Just, don't set yourself massive, I've got to do this and I've got to be there. Just start small, where you are, put your trainers on, put your wellies on and go for a walk, and notice how it makes you feel. That's the key. Notice how it makes you feel, rather than measuring it in any way. Notice how it makes you feel. Do you just feel a bit calmer and a bit more relaxed? And then just keep trying things. Don't feel like everybody's running, you need to be a runner, or you need to get into cycling. You just try different things and find the one that makes you feel a bit more alive and a bit more who you are. And don't feel, well, I'm in running, so I can't do this, or I've got to do this. Just start small and notice the changes for yourself. And something every day is good, because you can build it up. And then obviously you can get into all the stuff which says that we should do cardio and stretching and weight training and all the stuff you have to kind of do, but don't get overwhelmed by the have to. Just start where you are and not be afraid. And so many people are starting that it's not scary, and it's not about winning races. And I was on the tube recently and I saw this woman who was what I imagined a sporty person. And I was like, oh God, she's so together. And, she's And I just started realizing that I probably do just as much as she does, but all my head was going on with this kind of teenage angst.
And you're a surfer. Okay. You're seriously silver surfer. Exactly. And it's exactly. the other kind of surfing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I just thought, Jo, you just, don't worry about that. So there's so many people wanting to do stuff. It's so welcoming now. Sort of exercise that I would just say start where you are and just enjoy it. The most important thing is you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you won't carry on. And if you don't enjoy something, say, I'll try this. And if it's a little bit out of the ordinary, even better. Makes it more interesting for you.
So out of all the different activities that you do, what's your favourite?
I think I would really like to learn. I would love to do more surfing. But that's not practical because I live in the middle of the country. So I guess at the moment running is, because it's been such a revelation. I only started running I know you're a runner, and I only, and I know you love it and you understand it, but I didn't understand it till I was 52, almost 53. So that is a revelation for me and I'm really enjoying that. And I can do that from my house, trainers, I'm out the door, whereas surfing obviously takes more time. And I need to be somewhere. So it's difficult. People always ask me that. And somebody asked me on a podcast and I said snorkeling. And at that time, that was it, So I just, anything where I'm out, generally outside, really, and water if possible, or hills.
And you do trail running as well, don't you? So
well, I scramble up hills. I see a hill and kind of try and run up it. But I live in the Dale, so we have so many beautiful trails around here. And I just prefer it to the roads. I hurt my knee and it just feels better on the trails for me, and I can see more things, and I just have that freedom. So I really, really enjoy that very much. That adds to that gratitude, when you look at, particularly over this summer when we've had such incredible weather, 9:30 at night and I'm standing on top of the hill watching the sunset, you can't help but think how lucky, how fortunate am I? 53, I've got up to the top of this hill, it's great, I'm that just adds to it really for me.
It's fantastic. Really, really wonderful. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Magnificent Midlife podcast. This was an extract from a longer video interview available in our members club. That's where you'll find the strategies, support and connection you need to live the very best next phase of life. You can find out more about the members club and get the show notes for this episode at magnificentmidlife.com. It would really help me get the message out and inspire more women to feel empowered in midlife and beyond if you left me a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you may be listening to this, and share this podcast with your friends too. Help me change the world, one midlife woman at a time.